Guys, you know I love you for taking the time to listen. Any feedback, please leave it below. If you could please take the time to like and subscribe, it really makes you smile. I delivered pizza to a billionaire's wedding and became the groom. I was supposed to be delivering 12 extra-large pizzas to a wedding. So how the hell did I end up standing under a crystal chandelier, wearing a borrowed tuxedo, with the city's coldest hotel heiress sliding a diamond ring onto my finger? Let me explain. My name is Noah Reed, and until that day, my greatest life achievement was getting a 5-star review from a drunk bachelor party that ordered 30 wings, 4 pizzas, and 1 emergency tiramisu at 2 in the morning. I wasn't rich, I wasn't powerful, I wasn't handsome in the kind of way that made old ladies whisper, "What a fine young man." I was the kind of guy people forgot 3 seconds after meeting, unless I was carrying food. Food, apparently, was my superpower. Not cooking it, not officially anyway. I delivered it, reviewed it, critiqued it, worshipped it. During the day, I worked at Uncle Tony's Pizza Palace, which was not owned by my uncle and barely qualified as a palace, unless you considered 2 flickering neon signs and a soda machine that screamed when dispensing Sprite to be royal architecture. At night, I ran a food review channel called Bite Me Honestly. The name was my best friend Marcus's idea. "People love honesty," he said. "They also love being insulted," I said. "Exactly, that's why the internet exists." So I reviewed restaurants, not fancy ones, real ones. Street carts, late-night diners, family-owned noodle spots, taco trucks parked behind gas stations, chicken joints that looked like OSHA violations but tasted like God personally seasoned the fryer. I had 200,000 followers, which sounded impressive until you realized most of them were there, because I once called a luxury hotel's lobster bisque warm ocean sadness in a porcelain cup. That clip went viral. The hotel sent me a legal warning. I sent them a coupon for Uncle Tony's garlic knots. That was the kind of man I was. A man with no savings, no stable sleep schedule, and no ability to keep his mouth shut when someone charged $48 for undersalted pasta. The day my life fell apart started like any other Saturday. I was half asleep behind the counter, folding pizza boxes while Uncle Tony, again, not my uncle, shouted at the oven like it owed him money. "Noah, big order." "How big?" "Wedding big." I looked up. He slapped a receipt onto the counter. 12 pizzas. 4 pepperoni, 3 margarita, 2 mushroom truffle, 2 spicy sausage, 1 plain cheese because apparently even billionaires had children with no taste. Delivery address, the Grand Orlia Hotel. I whistled. The Grand Orlia wasn't just a hotel. It was a monument to people who said things like "summering in Monaco" without irony. Marble floors, golden elevators, chandeliers the size of compact cars. A place where tap water probably came with a wine pairing. "Why is a wedding at the Grand Orlia ordering from us?" I asked. Uncle Tony shrugged. "Rich people are mysterious. Maybe they finally developed taste." I checked the receipt again. Special instruction, deliver to Sapphire Ballroom. Ask for Ms. Evelyn Vale, urgent. Evelyn Vale. Even I knew that name. The Vale family owned the Orlia luxury hotel chain, half the resorts on the coast, and enough downtown real estate to make tax collectors sweat. Evelyn Vale was the granddaughter of the founder and current acting CEO. The media called her the Glass Queen. Beautiful, brilliant, untouchable, cold enough to turn room temperature wine back into ice. I had seen photos of her online. Sharp black suits, perfect posture, eyes that looked like they could fire underperforming employees from across the street. What I had not known was that she was getting engaged that day. Not that it mattered. I was a pizza guy. My relationship with billionaires began and ended at "Sign here, please." I loaded the pizzas into the insulated bags, strapped them into my ancient Honda like precious cargo, and headed downtown. Traffic was disgusting. The city had apparently decided that Saturday afternoon was the perfect time for every person with a driver's license to develop emotional issues. By the time I reached the Grand Orlia, I was sweating, annoyed, and deeply concerned about cheese integrity. A valet in white gloves opened my car door and looked inside. His expression twitched. "Sir," he said carefully, "are those pizzas?" "No," I said, "they're emotionally supportive flatbreads." He blinked. I grabbed the bags and walked past him. The lobby smelled like lilies, polished marble, and money laundering. People in tuxedos and gowns drifted around holding champagne flutes. A string quartet played something expensive and sad. I, meanwhile, wore black jeans, a faded Uncle Tony's shirt, and sneakers with a sauce stain shaped like Florida. Several guests looked at me like I was a raccoon that had learned to use automatic doors. I ignored them. A man in a headset hurried over. "Delivery. Pizza. For the staff entrance. Sapphire Ballroom, Ms. Evelyn Vale." His eyes widened. Oh, thank God. That was my first warning. No one says, "Thank God," when pizza arrives unless something has gone catastrophically wrong. Before I could ask questions, he grabbed my arm. "Come with me." "Hey, careful. These pizzas are hotter than my credit score is low." "No time." He dragged me through a side corridor, past floral arrangements, ice sculptures, and waiters moving like trained assassins. The deeper we went, the louder the ballroom became. Applause, murmurs. Music. Then we stopped outside a pair of massive double doors. The man turned to me, sweating. "Wait here." "Gladly. That'll be $243.18. He vanished through the doors. I stood there holding 12 pizzas, wondering if rich people tip better when panicking. Then the doors opened again. A woman stepped out, and the hallway temperature dropped 10 degrees. Evelyn Vale. In person, she was even more intimidating than the photos. Tall, elegant, wrapped in a white engagement gown that looked like it had been designed by angels with trust funds. Her dark hair was pinned up with pearl clips. Her expression was calm, controlled, and absolutely furious. Behind her, an older man with silver hair and a cane barked orders at 3 assistants. "Find him," he snapped, "now." Evelyn's eyes landed on me. For 1 second, her icy expression cracked. Not in surprise. Recognition. Then she looked at the pizza bags. Her pupils practically dilated. I swear to every holy cookbook in existence, the Glass Queen looked at those pizzas like a starving wolf seeing a lamb limp into a meadow. Then her face went cold again. "You," she said. "Me. What's your name?" "Noah Reed, pizza delivery, total is." She stepped closer and lowered her voice. "Do you know how to follow instructions?" "Depends. Are they written clearly and do they include a tip?" Her jaw tightened. Good, I had annoyed a billionaire in under 15 seconds. Personal record. She glanced toward the ballroom doors, then back at me. "My fiancé is missing." "Congratulations." Her eyes narrowed. "He disappeared 15 minutes before the engagement ceremony." "That seems rude." "My grandfather refuses to cancel. The press is inside. Investors are inside. Half the city's board members are inside." I looked at the pizzas. "Okay, so, you want me to feed them emotionally?" "No," she said, "I want you to stand in." I stared at her. A mushroom truffle pizza nearly slipped from my hand. "Stand in as what? A table?" "As my fiancé." I laughed. Not a polite laugh, not a nervous chuckle, a full, ugly, sleep-deprived laugh that echoed down the marble corridor. Evelyn did not laugh. The old man with the cane turned and stared. The assistants froze. I stopped laughing. "Oh," I said, "you're insane." Evelyn's face remained perfectly calm. "I'll pay you. I'm listening. $10,000. I'm engaged." Her eyebrow twitched. "To me." Right, yes, that was implied. She looked like she regretted every decision that had led her to this hallway. I glanced through the cracked ballroom doors. Hundreds of guests, cameras, flowers, a stage, a giant screen with the words EVELYN Vale and Adrian Cross, a union of legacy and future. Adrian Cross. That was the missing fiancé. I knew that name too, son of some investment tycoon, the kind of guy who wore loafers without socks and called waiters chief. I looked back at Evelyn. Why not just tell them he bilayed? Her expression flickered. For a moment the ice thinned. Because if I do, my grandfather will sign control of the company's expansion project to the Cross family by morning. Adrian's disappearance won't be framed as his failure. It'll be framed as mine. Rich people problems are exhausting. Yes. And your solution is to replace him with the pizza guy. You're available. That is not the compliment you think it is. Her grandfather stepped closer, studying me like I was produce. This boy, he asked. Evelyn didn't look away from me. This man, she corrected. My brain paused. That was unnecessary, also strangely effective. The old man frowned. He's dressed like he lost a fight with a laundry basket. I have a tuxedo from the emergency staff wardrobe, one assistant whispered. Of course you do, I muttered. Why wouldn't a hotel have emergency groom clothes? Evelyn leaned closer. If you help me for 30 minutes, I will pay you $10,000. 30 minutes? Yes. No kissing. Her face turned a fraction pink. Then she glared hard enough to kill bacteria. Don't flatter yourself. Good, because I charge extra for improvisation. Her lips pressed together. It almost looked like she was trying not to smile. Almost. Then something strange happened. One of the pizza bags shifted open slightly, releasing a warm cloud of garlic, basil, and melted cheese. Evelyn's eyes dropped instantly. Her throat moved. She swallowed. The Glass Queen, feared CEO of the Orlia Empire, looked like she was about to risk her entire public image for a slice of spicy sausage. I noticed. She noticed me noticing. Her gaze snapped back up. I'm not hungry, she said. I didn't ask. I have no interest in pizza. You stared at that bag like it owed you child support. Her ears turned pink. Do you want the money or not? I looked at the ballroom, then at the pizzas, then at Evelyn Vale, who was obviously lying about not wanting pizza with the tragic dignity of a queen denying a coup. $10,000 was more than I made in 3 months. Also, I was curious. That was my second mistake. Fine, I said, but I have conditions. Evelyn exhaled. What conditions? First, Uncle Tony's gets paid for the pizzas. Obviously. Second, I keep the tip. Fine. Third, if anyone asks, I am not a pizza guy. Agreed. I am a culinary logistics specialist. No. Independent food consultant. No. Flavor transportation executive. Her eye twitched. You are Noah Reed, my fiancé. That's suspiciously simple. My patience is not unlimited. Fourth, I said, raising a finger, after this is over, You announce we broke up because you were too emotionally dependent on my pizza opinions. Her cold mask cracked. Behind her, one assistant made a strangled sound. Evelyn stared at me. What? I have a brand to protect. You deliver pizza. I influence food culture. You insult soup online. That soup deserved it. Her grandfather suddenly laughed. It was a deep, sharp laugh that made everyone jump. I like him, the old man said. Evelyn shot him a look. I do not, she said immediately. Too quickly. Interesting. The assistant shoved a tuxedo bag into my arms. 5 minutes later, I was in a storage room changing clothes while 2 hotel employees waited outside like I might escape through the vents. The tux fit badly. The shoulders were too tight, the pants were too long, and the shoes felt like polished torture devices. But when I stepped out, the assistant nodded like I had transformed from raccoon to raccoon with financial backing. Evelyn was waiting. Her eyes swept over me. For half a second she froze. Then she looked away. It'll do. Wow, be still my heart. You have pizza sauce on your wrist. I wiped it off. She took my arm. Her hand was cool, her grip was firm, her perfume was soft, expensive, and annoyingly nice. Before the ballroom doors opened, she leaned close. On stage, smile, nod, say as little as possible. Great, my specialty. And don't mention pizza. No promises. Her fingers tightened around my arm. Noah. The way she said my name should not have made my pulse jump. The doors opened. The ballroom exploded in applause. Hundreds of faces turned toward us. I saw jeweled gowns, tailored suits, champagne glasses, cameras, news crews, and at least 3 people whose watches cost more than my car. The giant screen changed. Evyn Vale and Noah Reid. Wait. Hold on. The screen already had my name. My feet slowed. Evelyn tugged me forward. Keep walking, she whispered. Why does the screen have my name? Later. No, no, no. That feels like a now question. Smile. I smiled like a hostage. The guests clapped louder. Some whispered. Some looked confused. Some looked delighted because rich people love drama as long as it happened in formal wear. At the front row, a woman gasped, "Who is he?" A man whispered, "Must be someone important." Another replied, "Look how calm he is." Calm. I was thinking about whether mozzarella grease had stained my undershirt. We reached the stage. Evelyn's grandfather took the microphone. "Ladies and gentlemen," he said, voice booming through the ballroom, "thank you for your patience. Today, our family celebrates not merely an engagement, but a choice." That line sounded dangerous. A choice made by my granddaughter, Evelyn Vale, acting CEO of the Orlia Group. A choice of partner, a choice of future. The crowd murmured. He turned toward me. And this young man, Noah Reid, appears to have surprised us all. You and me both, Grandpa. Evelyn stood beside me like a marble statue. Her face was serene. Her arm was looped through mine. To the cameras, we probably looked elegant. In reality, her nails were digging into my sleeve. The host approached with a velvet box. Rings. Actual rings. My soul left my body, checked the parking meter, and considered not returning. I leaned toward Evelyn. 30 minutes, you said. Just put it on. Is this legally binding? Not unless you run. That is not comforting. She took the men's ring first. It was simple, platinum, expensive enough to fund several years of pizza development. She held my hand and slid it onto my finger. It fit perfectly. Again. Perfectly. My eyes narrowed. Evelyn. Smile. Then it was my turn. I picked up her ring. Her hand was steady in mine, but her fingertips were cold. I slid the ring onto her finger. The crowd applauded. Cameras flashed. Somewhere in the back I heard someone whisper, "So romantic." Lady, I was here because of 12 pizzas and weak financial judgment. The ceremony ended in a blur of applause, handshakes, and old men congratulating me like I had won a merger. Evelyn did most of the talking. I nodded so much my neck started to hurt. Then the ballroom doors burst open. A tall man in a white tuxedo stormed in, red-faced and furious. Adrian Cross. The missing fiancé had arrived. He looked expensive, sweaty, and deeply offended by reality. "What is this?" he shouted. The room fell silent. Evelyn's arm tightened around mine. Her grandfather's smile vanished. Adrian marched toward the stage. "Evelyn, explain yourself. I was delayed because my driver somehow got routed to the airport cargo entrance. I come back and find you engaged too." His eyes landed on me. His expression twisted. "Who the hell is this?" I raised my hand. "Flavor Transportation Executive." Evelyn closed her eyes briefly. Adrian pointed at me. "This is a joke." "No," Evelyn said coldly. "This is my fiancé." "I'm your fiancé." "Were," she said. A ripple moved through the crowd. Adrian's face darkened. "You can't humiliate me like this. You arrived late to your own engagement ceremony." "I was sabotaged." "Then perhaps you should hire better drivers." I coughed to hide a laugh. Adrian's eyes snapped to me. "And you, how much did she pay you?" "Wow," I said, straight to classism, bold appetizer choice. He stepped forward. "You think this is funny?" "A little. You have no idea who you're dealing with." "That's true. I mostly deal with hungry people." The guests whispered louder. Evelyn leaned toward me. "Stop talking," she whispered. "But I'm bonding." Adrian looked ready to explode. Then Evelyn's grandfather struck his cane against the floor. "Enough." The sound cracked through the ballroom. "Mr. Cross," he said, "you embarrassed my granddaughter by failing to appear. She made her choice. Leave before you embarrass yourself further." Adrian's jaw clenched. "This isn't over." He turned and stormed out. The silence lasted 3 seconds. Then the entire ballroom erupted. Guests whispered, cameras flashed, phones came out. The engagement had transformed from society event to nuclear gossip bomb. Evelyn smiled for the cameras. Her smile was perfect. Her hand, still holding my arm, was trembling. Only slightly. I noticed, and for reasons I didn't understand, I shifted half a step closer to her. Her fingers stilled. After 20 more minutes of smiling, nodding, and pretending, I understood phrases like strategic hospitality alignment. Evelyn dragged me through a side exit into a private lounge. The second the door closed, she released my arm and turned on me. "What was that?" "What was what?" "Flavor Transportation Executive." I panicked. "You made fun of Adrian Cross in front of half the city." "He started it." "You are impossible. You hired me 20 minutes ago." "I regret it." "No, you don't." Her eyes flashed. "I absolutely do." Then her stomach growled. The room went silent. I slowly turned my head toward the stack of pizza bags sitting on a side table. Apparently, someone had rescued them from the hallway. Evelyn's face went blank. "That was not me. There are 2 people in this room." It was the air conditioning. The air conditioning wants spicy sausage. She glared. I opened one box. Steam curled up. The smell of tomato sauce, fresh basil, melted mozzarella, roasted garlic, and spicy sausage filled the room. Evelyn looked away. Aggressively. I don't eat greasy delivery food. Of course not. I have a nutritionist. Tragic. I maintain a strict diet. Sounds lonely. I am not lonely. I was talking about the diet. Her eyes cut to me. I lifted a slice. Cheese stretched gloriously. Her gaze followed it like a cat watching a laser pointer. I took a bite. Crispy crust, tangy sauce, sausage with heat but not arrogance. Uncle Tony's wasn't fancy, but when the oven behaved, it could make billionaires question their values. Evelyn's expression did not change. Her fingers curled slightly. I held out the slice. Want some? No. Okay. I pulled it back. Her hand shot out and grabbed my wrist. We stared at each other. She released me instantly. I mean, she said, voice icy, it would be rude not to evaluate the food served at my engagement. Very professional. Don't misunderstand. I would never. I'm only taking one bite. She took the slice, then took a bite. Her eyes closed. Just for a second. But in that second, the glass queen disappeared. The cold CEO, the marble heiress, the woman who could shame a boardroom into silence, gone. In her place was a girl tasting something she had desperately wanted and hated that she wanted it. She chewed slowly, swallowed, opened her eyes. It's acceptable. You have sauce on your lip. She froze. I handed her a napkin. She snatched it. I said acceptable. You ate half the slice in one bite. That's an exaggeration. There's security footage. I own the security footage. Convenient. She turned away, but not before I saw the faint pink on her cheeks. Then she took another bite. And another. By the time her assistant knocked, Evelyn had eaten 3 slices and arranged the crusts in a neat line like evidence. The assistant, a sharp woman named Clara, entered and stopped. Her eyes dropped to the pizza box. Then to Evelyn. Then to me. Evelyn's voice went glacial. Not a word. Clara nodded. Of course, Miss Vale. Her mouth twitched. Evelyn stood, smoothing her gown. Noah Reed, we need to discuss terms. Terms? The arrangement. The 30 minutes are over. No, she said, they are not. I blinked. She walked to the window, overlooking the city. Because of today's incident, my grandfather believes our engagement is real. The board believes I rejected the Cross family by choice. Adrian has been humiliated. The press will make this the story of the year. Sounds like your problem. It becomes your problem when reporters discover you are a pizza delivery driver and food reviewer known for calling my hotel's bisque warm ocean sadness. I pointed at her. That review was fair. She turned. I need you to continue acting as my fiancé. For how long? 3 months. I laughed again. She waited. I stopped. You're doing that serious face again. I am serious. No. I'll pay you. I'm listening again. $100,000. My knees briefly reconsidered their union with gravity. 100,000. Yes. For pretending to be engaged. For public appearances, family dinners, investor events, and limited media interactions. Define limited. You speak only when necessary. That feels targeted. It is. I sat down. This is insane. Yes. Illegal. No. Emotionally dangerous. Only if you develop unrealistic expectations. I looked at her. She looked back, chin lifted. Cold, proud, untouchable. Except her eyes flicked to the remaining pizza. I smiled slowly. You don't want me because of the engagement. Her expression did not change. I need a fiancé. No, you want access. To what? My food connections. Ridiculous. My reviews. Absurd. My private list of best late-night restaurants. Her silence lasted half a second too long. I gasped. You do. I do not. You're obsessed with my channel. I have never watched your channel. Then how do you know about the bisque review? It was brought to my attention. By who? The legal department. For one clip. Her jaw tightened. I leaned back. Oh my God, the Glass Queen is a fan. I am not. You've seen every video. I have not. What's my catchphrase? She looked away. I grinned. What's my catchphrase, Evelyn? She muttered something. What was that? If the sauce doesn't slap, send it back, she said through clenched teeth. I slapped the table. I knew it. Her glare could have flash-frozen soup. Do not look so pleased with yourself. You're crazy for my food takes. I respect informed culinary criticism. You sent 12 pizzas to your own engagement. That was Clara. Clara, still by the door, coughed. Evelyn's eyes shot toward her. Clara looked at the wall. I folded my arms. Wait, did you order from Uncle Tony's? Evelyn said nothing. You did. No. You specifically asked for me. I asked for the restaurant. The receipt said ask for Ms. Evelyn Vale, urgent. Many people are named Evelyn Vale. In your hotel. She stared at me. I stared back. Finally, she said, your delivery radius is inconvenient. I stood up. I'm leaving. No. No. You haven't signed the contract. I haven't agreed. You will. Why? She lifted her chin. Because you need money. Your car is one pothole away from becoming modern art. Your channel has potential but poor production quality. And your current employer's oven temperature fluctuates by 30 degrees. I stared. How do you know about the oven? She looked away again. Reviews mention crust inconsistency. You researched me. I conducted basic risk assessment. You stalked my pizza career. I assessed. You wanted to lock me down. I needed a convenient fiancé. With my ring size ready. Her mouth closed. I raised my left hand. The ring gleamed. Fits perfectly. Evelyn's face flushed. That was an estimate. You estimated my ring size. With photography. With photography. For risk assessment. I started laughing so hard I had to sit down. She looked murderous. I can find another man. No, you can't. I absolutely can. Then do it. I will. Great. Fine. Fine. Neither of us moved. Clara whispered, should I bring the contract? Yes, Evelyn said instantly. No, I said. Clara brought the contract. That was how I became the fake fiancé of Evelyn Vale. My conditions were simple. 1. Uncle Tony's would become an official trial vendor for the Oralia staff kitchens. 2. I would not attend any event before noon unless fed. 3. Evelyn could not interfere with my food review channel. 4. I would receive access to all Oralia restaurants, kitchens, and supplier lists for fiancé familiarity training, which was a fancy way of saying I wanted to snoop. 5. When the fake engagement ended, Evelyn had to publicly state that I broke up with her because her room service was mid. She stared at that clause for a full minute. No. Yes. I run one of the finest luxury hospitality groups in the country. Then your room service should survive criticism. You are asking me to publicly insult my own hotel. I am asking for narrative closure. You are ridiculous. You ordered 12 pizzas to your engagement because you wanted me within grabbing distance. Her pen snapped in half. Clara silently handed her another. Evelyn signed. I signed. And just like that, my life upgraded from delivery guy to society scandal. The internet found me in 6 hours. By midnight, my face was everywhere. Pizza guy, SDALS billionaire heiress from Finance Prince. Who is Noah Reed? Evelyn Vales mystery fiancé once roasted her hotel soup. My followers tripled. Uncle Tony cried. Marcus called me 37 times. When I finally answered, he screamed, "Did you marry the bisque lady?" Engaged, I said. Fake. Fake. Probably. What does probably mean? It means the ring fits too well. The next morning, a black luxury SUV picked me up from my apartment. My apartment, by the way, was above a laundromat and smelled permanently like detergent, pepperoni, and broken dreams. The driver took me to the Vale family estate. Not house, estate. There was a gate, a fountain, trees arranged with more discipline than my entire life. The mansion looked like a museum where emotions went to die. Evelyn met me in the foyer wearing a cream suit and an expression that said she had already regretted speaking to me today. You're late, she said. It's 10:03. You were expected at 10. I was emotionally preparing. You're carrying a paper bag. Breakfast. You brought breakfast to a mansion with a private chef. I don't trust private chefs before noon. Her eyes dropped to the bag. What is it? Breakfast calzones. She looked away. I'm not interested. Of course not. Her grandfather appeared at the top of the staircase. Charles Vale. Founder billionaire, cane enthusiast. Noah, he boomed, come here, boy. I climbed the stairs. He looked me up and down. You caused quite a stir. Mostly by standing still. Good, the Cross family needed embarrassment. Evelyn's expression sharpened. Grandfather. What? They've been circling my company like vultures for years. He turned to me. So what do you do? I opened my mouth. Evelyn answered first. He is a food consultant. I looked at her. She looked ahead. Independent, she added. I smiled. Flavor transportation executive was catchier. Her eye twitched. Charles laughed again. I watched your videos. Evelyn froze. I brightened. You did? Yes, the one about our bisque was brutal. Accurate. He nodded. It was terrible. Evelyn looked personally wounded. Grandfather. What? It tasted like seawater and regret. I pointed at him. See, visionary. Charles leaned on his cane. Tell me, Noah, if you were running food operations for a luxury hotel, what would you fix first? Evelyn's gaze snapped toward him. I shrugged. Suppliers. The room quieted. Charles's eyes narrowed with interest. Why? Because rich hotels love pretending food gets better when the invoice gets bigger. Half the time, you're paying premium prices to middlemen who slap gold labels on average ingredients. Customers might not know the difference at first, but they feel it. A tomato that tastes like cardboard doesn't become luxury because a waiter describes it in French. Charles smiled slowly. Evelyn stared at me. I continued because my mouth has never respected danger. Your hotels probably have gorgeous plating and dead flavors, the kind of food made by committees. Safe, expensive, forgettable. People photograph it, post it, and never crave it again. Silence. Then Charles clapped once. Excellent. Evelyn looked like she wanted to throw me into the fountain. You insulted our entire culinary division, she said. I summarized it. Charles pointed his cane at her. He's right. He has been here 8 minutes. And in 8 minutes, he said what our consultants were paid millions to avoid saying. That was how I got dragged into the first business meeting. I thought I was there to eat calzones and pretend affection. Instead, I was seated in a boardroom across from Orlia's culinary directors, procurement officers, brand strategists, and one French chef who looked like he wanted to season me with contempt. Evelyn sat at the head of the table, perfectly composed. Charles sat beside her, smiling like a man who had thrown a cat into a room full of pigeons. A presentation began. Slides, charts, premium sourcing strategy, luxury dining initiatives, farm-to-table narratives, seasonal authenticity. It was corporate poetry written by people who had never stood in a kitchen at midnight begging an oven to stop burning the left side of a crust. I tried to stay quiet. I really did. Then someone showed a slide titled, Artisanal Tomato Experience Repositioning. I raised my hand. Evelyn closed her eyes. Yes, Noah, Charles asked. What is an artisanal tomato experience? The procurement director smiled tightly. It refers to our guest-facing culinary journey, centered around hand-selected heritage tomatoes. So, tomatoes. Premium tomatoes. From where? He clicked to the next slide. There it was, supplier list, regional farms, import partners, distribution network. I leaned forward. Something looked wrong. Go back. The room paused. The director frowned. To which slide? The supplier one. He went back. I scanned the names. One jumped out. Golden Crest Produce Collective. I knew that name. I had reviewed a tiny Italian place 2 years ago that used Golden Crest tomatoes. The owner told me they were supposed to be premium imports. They tasted like wet cardboard. A week later, I found the same boxes behind a discount wholesaler with different labels. I pointed. That one Golden Crest, you use them. The director stiffened. They are one of our certified premium vendors. They're garbage. The French chef slammed his palm on the table. Impossible. No, very possible. Evelyn opened her eyes. Noah. I looked at her. What? Explain. So I did. I explained how Golden Crest repackaged lower-grade produce as boutique supply, how several mid-tier restaurants had quietly dropped them after complaints, and how their heritage tomatoes were often greenhouse rejects dressed up with fake origin paperwork. The procurement director turned pale. That is a serious accusation. It's a serious tomato. The French chef looked at the director. You assured me they were authentic. They are certified. Certified by who? I asked. He hesitated. That hesitation told the whole room everything. Evelyn's expression turned deadly calm. Clara, she said. Clara appeared like a summoned blade. Yes, Ms. Vale. Pull every invoice from Golden Crest. Cross-check delivery records, quality reports, and certification documents. Quietly. Yes, Ms. Vale. The room shifted. I suddenly realized I had not simply insulted tomatoes. I had kicked open a door someone wanted closed. After the meeting, Evelyn dragged me into her office. Again. This was becoming our thing. She shut the door. What else do you know? About tomatoes. About our suppliers. I scratched my head. I know your seafood partner for the downtown hotel overcharges. Your pastry chocolate supplier changed formulas last year and hoped no one noticed. Your coffee program is criminally boring. Your room service fries die in transit because your containers trap steam. She stared. You know all this from eating, and delivering, and reviewing, and talking to kitchen staff. People tell delivery guys everything because they assume we're furniture. For the first time, Evelyn looked genuinely impressed. Then she caught herself. Her face froze. Acceptable. I grinned. That's your highest praise, isn't it? No. What comes after acceptable? Don't get arrogant. Too late. Her phone buzzed. She checked it, then looked up. Clara found irregularities. With Golden Crest. With multiple vendors. I whistled. That was fast. My staff is competent. And terrified of you. As they should be. The corner of her mouth twitched. There it was again, almost a smile. My stomach did something weird. Probably hunger. Definitely hunger. I pulled out the second breakfast calzone from my bag. Evelyn's eyes followed it. I lifted it. Want to? No. I waited. She stared at the calzone. I said no. I took a bite. She watched. Fine, she said sharply. One bite, only because I skipped breakfast. Your nutritionist must be devastated. She took the calzone and bit into it. Her shoulders relaxed. Just slightly. I leaned against her desk. You know, for someone who hates delivery food, you sure keep eating mine. She chewed slowly. Swallowed. Then said, I'm evaluating consistency. 3 slices yesterday, half a calzone today. That's a lot of evaluation. I am thorough. You're obsessed. I will have Clara remove you from the estate. You'll miss the snacks. She opened her mouth. Closed it. Looked away. I laughed. She hated that. Over the next 2 weeks, my fake engagement became the city's favorite entertainment. Evelyn and I attended dinners, charity events, hotel inspections, and one private art auction where a man paid $2 million for a painting that looked like ketchup fighting mustard. Everywhere we went, people stared. Some were curious, some were jealous, some were waiting for me to embarrass myself. I usually delivered. At a charity gala, a woman asked how Evelyn and I met. Evelyn answered smoothly, through mutual interests. I said pizza. At a board dinner, someone asked what drew me to Evelyn. I said her warmth. The table went silent. Then Evelyn kicked my ankle under the table. I added deeply hidden warmth. At a hotel inspection, a chef proudly presented a deconstructed Caesar salad. I stared at it. Did the salad owe you money? Evelyn whispered, Noah. It's in piles. It is modern. It looks like lettuce lost a custody battle. The chef nearly cried. Evelyn scolded me afterward. You cannot say everything you think. Then why have thoughts? You are a liability. You keep inviting me. For professional reasons. You mean snack reasons. Her cheeks colored. Don't flatter yourself. But she kept ordering food from places I recommended. Quietly. At first, she tried to hide it. Then one night, I arrived at her office and found 3 takeout containers arranged on her desk. She stood in front of them like a criminal caught with evidence. "What's this?" I asked. "Dinner. From Mama Ruiz's." She lifted her chin. "I was conducting market research. That place is 40 minutes away. Comprehensive market research. You ordered the birria tacos." Clara ordered. Clara, sitting in the corner with a tablet, said without looking up, "Ms. Vale ordered 17 minutes after watching your review for the 4th time." Evelyn slowly turned her head. Clara stood. "I have a meeting." She left. I grinned. Evelyn pointed a taco at me. "Say one word and I'll cancel your contract." "You watched my review 4 times. For accuracy." "You paused on the cheese pull, didn't you?" Her ears reddened. I sat across from her. "Relax, your secret's safe." "I don't have secrets." "You have a folder on your laptop named Culinary Research. That's just my videos." Her eyes widened. I gasped. "You do." "I do not." "You absolutely do." She took a furious bite of taco. Sauce dripped onto her thumb. Without thinking, she licked it. Then froze. I froze too. The office got very quiet. She cleared her throat. "This sauce is adequate. Your face says life-changing. My face says nothing. Your face is bad at lying when tacos are involved." She looked out the window. "I hate you." "No, you don't." "I dislike your confidence." "That's closer." She didn't answer, but she pushed one of the taco containers toward me. That was the first time I realized Evelyn Vale didn't share food with just anyone. For her, it was basically a confession. Meanwhile, the supplier scandal grew. Clara's investigation revealed that several Orlia vendors had been inflating prices, falsifying origins, and funneling kickbacks through shell companies. The corruption reached into the procurement department and possibly the board. And guess whose family was tied to one of the largest suppliers? The Cross family. Adrian Cross had not simply been a missing fiancé. He had been a business trap in designer shoes. The engagement was supposed to merge supply contracts, expansion rights, and hotel operations under a strategic partnership. In plain English, Adrian's family would get access to Orlia's kitchens, vendors, and money pipelines. Evelyn had resisted. Her grandfather had pressured her. Then she found a loophole. Me. A fake fiancé who made the Cross engagement impossible. Except the more I learned, the less fake everything felt. Especially when I discovered Evelyn had been watching my channel for almost a year. It happened by accident. I was in her office waiting for her to finish a call. Her laptop was open on the conference table. I wasn't snooping, not really. The screen was just there. A notification popped up. "Bite Me honestly uploaded. The best dumplings in the city are behind a laundromat." Before I could react, Evelyn ended her call, crossed the room, and slammed the laptop shut. Too late. I slowly turned. She stared back. "That was not mine. It was your laptop. Clara uses it." Clara doesn't strike me as a dumpling enthusiast. "You don't know Clara." "Evelyn." "What?" "You have notifications on. For market awareness. You subscribed. For research. With alerts. For timely research. You wanted to lock me down since before the wedding, didn't you?" Her face went cold. Don't be absurd. But her fingers tightened around the laptop. I stepped closer. The pizza order, my name on the screen, the ring size, the emergency tux, the contract already prepared. This was never random. She looked away. For once, she had no immediate comeback. My heart started beating strangely. Evelyn. Her voice was quiet when she answered. Adrian was always going to be late. I stared. What? I arranged for his driver to be rerouted, not dangerously, just delayed. Okay, I needed a replacement. And you picked me. She lifted her chin, but the blush ruined the arrogance. You were convenient. Because I deliver pizza. Because you understand food. Because you aren't afraid to criticize power. Because my grandfather values honesty more than pedigree, even if he pretends otherwise. And because you're crazy for my reviews. I am not crazy. You ordered 12 pizzas. For the event. You don't even like sharing. For the staff. You ate 3 slices alone. They were small. They were extra-large slices. She glared. I laughed softly. You could have just asked me to consult. Her expression shifted. Something vulnerable flashed beneath the ice. Would you have said yes? I opened my mouth. Closed it. Honestly, probably not. A billionaire CEO asking me to consult would have sounded like a prank. A cold heiress asking me to help save her company. I would have assumed she wanted free labor wrapped in exposure. She saw the answer on my face. That's why, she said. You trapped me. I recruited you aggressively. That's kidnapping with paperwork. It was an engagement ceremony, be precise. I should have been angry. Part of me was. But another part of me remembered her trembling hand on the stage, her eating pizza alone in a private room like it was a stolen joy, her carefully hidden smiles, the way she pushed tacos toward me without looking. You're unbelievable, I said. She folded her arms. I know. That wasn't a compliment. I chose to accept it as one. The tension broke. I laughed. She almost smiled. Almost. Then her phone rang. The smile vanished before it was born. She answered. Listened. Her face went pale. What happened? I asked. She hung up slowly. Adrian knows about the investigation. And he's making his move. The move came 3 days later at the biggest culinary investor event of the year. The Aurelia Group was launching a new luxury dining initiative, Aurelia Table. Evelyn planned to unveil a revamped food program based on real sourcing, local partnerships, transparent vendors, and actual flavor. Translation: she had let me bully an empire into seasoning its food properly. The event was held in the Grand Orlia's Diamond Hall. Reporters, chefs, investors, influencers, hotel executives, everyone came. There were tasting stations, live demonstrations, wine pairings, and more people saying mouthfeel than should be legally allowed. Evelyn looked unstoppable. Black evening gown, diamond earrings, hair swept back, cold, elegant, impossible to read. I stood beside her in a tailored suit she had forced on me. You look acceptable, she said. You're glowing with praise today. The tie is crooked. She stepped closer and fixed it herself. Her fingers brushed my collar. I held still. She looked focused, too focused. Evelyn. What? You nervous? No. Your hands are cold. They're always cold. Glass queen thing. She looked up. For a second, the room faded. Then she said softly, if tonight fails, the board will use it against me. It won't fail. You don't know that. I do. Why? Because I tasted everything. Her lips parted. Then she looked away. Idiot. But she didn't move back right away. The event began perfectly. Guests loved the food. The new tomato tasting station, now sourced from actual farms instead of cardboard mafia, got rave reactions. The redesigned room service packaging impressed hotel operators. The staff meal program made chefs nod. Even the coffee didn't taste like wet office carpet anymore. Evelyn gave a speech about integrity and hospitality. I was proud of her, which was annoying. Then came the sabotage. A woman screamed near the seafood station. A man staggered back, clutching his throat. Another guest shouted, "Someone call a doctor." Within seconds, panic spread. Reporters rushed in. Cameras lifted. A server dropped a tray. Evelyn went still. I moved before thinking. "What did he eat?" I asked. A waiter pointed shakily. "Oyster tasting with citrus foam." Of course it was foam. I knelt beside the man. He was conscious, breathing but flushed and sweating. "Do you have allergies?" I asked. He wheezed, "Shellfish." I stared. "You ate oysters with a shellfish allergy." He looked confused. "I was told it was mushroom." My eyes lifted. Across the room, Adrian Cross stood near the entrance, watching. Smiling. There it was. Not poison, smarter. Mislabeled allergen exposure. Enough to create panic, enough to imply negligence, enough to destroy trust in a culinary launch. But something was off. The oyster station had clear signage. I had checked. I stood and scanned the table. The label now read, "Smoked king oyster mushroom with citrus foam." King oyster mushroom. Cued. Someone had swapped the sign. Evelyn appeared beside me. Her face was composed, but her eyes were sharp with panic. "Noah, get medical staff, now, then secure every station. They'll say we mislabeled allergens. Not if we prove the sign was switched." "How?" I looked toward the dessert station. A chocolate fountain gleamed beside a tower of mirrored serving trays. Above it, mounted discreetly in the floral arch, was a tiny camera. Not hotel security. Influencer equipment. I grinned. Because rich people live stream everything. I grabbed a microphone from the stage. "Ladies and gentlemen, please remain calm. Medical staff are assisting our guest. In the meantime, since we're all apparently fans of transparency tonight, let's review what happened." Evelyn stared at me. "What are you doing?" she whispered. "Improvising. That word terrifies me." I pointed to the influencer near the dessert table. "You pink phone case, were you live streaming?" She blinked. "Yes." "Still recording?" "Yes." "Great, you may have just saved dinner." I asked her to replay the last 10 minutes on the big screen. The reporters perked up like sharks smelling blood. Adrian's smile faded. On screen, the seafood station appeared. The original sign clearly read, "Citrus oysters contain shellfish." Then 5 minutes later, a waiter no one recognized stepped close, blocking the camera with his shoulder. When he moved away, the sign had changed. The room erupted. I paused the video. Zoomed in. The waiter's cufflink bore a small silver cross. Cross. Subtle, no. Arrogant, absolutely. I turned toward Adrian. Interesting accessory. Every camera followed my gaze. Adrian's face hardened. "This is absurd." "Agreed," I said. "Sabotaging oysters is deeply embarrassing." "You have no proof that man works for me." "True." I clicked to another clip from the hotel's hallway camera, which Clara had already pulled because Clara was terrifyingly efficient. The same fake waiter entered through a service door. With Adrian. The room exploded again. Evelyn stepped forward. Her voice was cold enough to chill champagne. "Mr. Cross, would you like to explain why your associate entered my event disguised as service staff and tampered with allergen signage?" Adrian's mouth opened. Nothing came out. I leaned into the microphone. "For the record, this is why you don't mess with food. People can forgive bad speeches. They can forgive ugly centerpieces. But endanger someone during dinner, that's villain behavior with poor plating." A few people laughed nervously. The allergic guest, now stabilized by medical staff, gave a weak thumbs up. The applause started slowly, then grew. Adrian turned and left before security reached him. This time, no one followed him with sympathy. After the event, headlines changed fast. Heiress exposes sabotage live. Food reviewer fiancé, saves culinary launch. Cross family under investigation after allergen scandal. The launch became a massive success. Investors loved Evelyn's transparency. Chefs praised the sourcing overhaul. Guests posted videos of the food. My follower count exploded again. Uncle Tony printed shirts that said, "My pizza got a man engaged." Evelyn pretended to hate them. She ordered 12. The supplier investigation crushed the Cross family's hospitality contracts. Several procurement executives resigned. Golden Crest disappeared from Orlia kitchens overnight. Charles Vale was delighted. At dinner the next evening, he raised a glass. "To Noah," he said, "the only man I know who destroyed a corrupt supply chain by insulting tomatoes." "I do my best." Evelyn sipped her wine. "He got lucky." Charles chuckled. "You say that often." "Because he does. He also saved your launch. He made a scene. A successful scene. He enjoys attention." "I enjoy accuracy," I said. She looked at me. "You enjoy being impossible. You enjoy feeding me." "I do not." The private chef entered carrying dinner. At Evelyn's request, it was not the usual luxury tasting menu. It was pizza. Uncle Tony's pizza. Charles looked amused. I looked at Evelyn. She stared straight ahead. "This is for grandfather," she said. Charles raised both hands. "I did not ask for pizza." Evelyn's eyes flashed. "Then it is for guest research." I smiled. "Of course." She kicked me under the table. After dinner, I found her on the balcony. The city glittered below. The air was cool. Evelyn stood with her arms folded, looking distant. I stepped beside her. "You okay?" "I'm fine." "You always say that when you're not." She glanced at me. "When did you become so observant?" "Delivery work. You learn to read people. Hungry, angry, sad, pretending not to be hungry." Her mouth twitched. "I was never pretending." "You still have marinara on your sleeve." She looked down. There was, in fact, a tiny red spot. She sighed. "Unbelievable." I handed her a napkin. She took it. For a while, neither of us spoke. Then she said, "The contract ends in 2 weeks." My chest tightened. I had known that. Of course I had known that. 3 months, public appearances, supplier cleanup, culinary launch, crisis handled, Adrian ruined. Evelyn secure. Deal complete. I should have been thrilled. $100,000, channel growth, new consulting opportunities, Uncle Tony's official hotel contract. My life had changed. So why did the idea of leaving feel like biting into cold pizza when you expected fresh? Right, I said. You'll return to your apartment. Probably. And your deliveries. Maybe not. Uncle Tony says I'm bad for business now because people keep coming in asking if I'm available for engagements. She looked down. I see. I leaned against the railing. You'll be fine. I know. Company's safe. Yes. Food programs working. Yes. Cross families backing off. Yes. So, she said. The silence stretched. I wanted her to say something. She wanted me to say something. Naturally, we both chose emotional incompetence. Finally, she turned. When we announced the breakup, I will not say my room service was mid. I laughed despite myself. That was in the contract. I refuse. Legally binding. I have better lawyers. That's cheating. I prefer winning. I looked at her. The balcony lights softened her face. Without the boardroom armor, without the cameras, she looked younger. Not weak. Never weak, just real. Evelyn. What? Why did you really pick me? She looked away. I told you. No, the real reason. Her fingers tightened around the napkin. For once, she didn't deflect immediately. I was tired, she said quietly. That answer caught me off guard. Tired of polished men with perfect resumes and empty eyes. Tired of meals that looked beautiful and tasted like nothing. Tired of everyone around me wanting something from my name. She swallowed. Then I found your channel. I stayed quiet. You were rude, she said. Thank you. Unfiltered, annoying, completely disrespectful to unnecessary foam. As all good people should be. But you cared about flavor, about small restaurants, about people working hard in kitchens no one praised. You noticed things others ignored. She looked at me then. And when you hated something, it was because you believed it could be better. My throat felt weird. That's dangerously close to a compliment. Don't ruin it. Sorry. Her gaze dropped. I thought if someone like you stood beside me, even temporarily, I might remember what real things taste like. The city noise hummed below. I didn't know what to say. So obviously, I said the worst possible thing. So you kidnapped me for emotional seasoning. She stared. Then she laughed. Not the polite laugh she used at events. A real laugh. Soft at first, then helpless. I watched her completely doomed. When she stopped, her eyes were bright. You are impossible. You keep saying that. Because you keep being it. I stepped closer. She didn't move away. Evelyn. Her voice dropped. What? If the contract ended and I didn't leave, she held very still. Would that be inconvenient? Her face turned pink. Then she lifted her chin. Extremely. Good inconvenient or bad inconvenient. Disruptive. That's not an answer. It would interfere with my schedule. Still not an answer. It would require adjustments. You're really bad at this. I'm not bad at anything. You're bad at admitting you like me. Her eyes widened slightly. Then narrowed. I do not like you. Okay. I tolerate you. Sure. I find your presence occasionally useful. Very romantic. And your food recommendations are acceptable. The highest praise. She looked away. Then whispered, and I don't want you to leave. There it was. No fireworks, no dramatic music, no chandelier applause. Just one honest sentence from a woman who treated honesty like contraband. My heart went stupid. "I don't want to leave," I said. She looked back at me. For a moment, neither of us moved. Then Clara opened the balcony door. "Miss Vale, sorry to interrupt, but Mr. Vale is asking whether he should prepare a wedding announcement or a breakup announcement." Evelyn closed her eyes. I coughed. Clara looked between us. "I'll tell him to prepare both." She disappeared. Evelyn covered her face with one hand. "I hate this family. I like them." "You would." 2 weeks later, we held a press conference. Officially, it was to announce the future of Orlia Table and address questions about the Cross investigation. Unofficially, everyone wanted to know whether the pizza fiancé was getting dumped. The room was packed. Reporters shouted questions the moment we entered. "Ms. Vale, is the engagement still on?" "Mr. Reed, are you returning to food reviews?" "Is it true you were originally the pizza delivery driver?" "Did you really call Orlia's room service mid?" Evelyn stood at the podium, calm as ever. I stood beside her, less calm but better dressed. She answered business questions first: growth strategy, supplier transparency, culinary partnerships, new staff food programs, local sourcing, investor confidence. Then came the question. "Ms. Vale," a reporter called, "is your engagement to Noah Reed real?" The room went silent. Evelyn looked at me. I looked at her. Her expression was unreadable. Then she turned back to the microphone. "Our engagement began under unusual circumstances." Accurate. At first, Mr. Reed was asked to assist me during a difficult public moment. Also accurate. But during these months, he has proven himself honest, brave, infuriating, and disturbingly confident about tomato quality. Laughter rippled through the room. I leaned toward the mic. "Tomatoes matter." She ignored me. "He helped protect this company. He helped rebuild something I care about, and—" She paused. For the first time in public, Evelyn Vale blushed. My brain short-circuited. And she continued, voice softer, "He reminded me that life should have flavor." The room went completely still. "So yes," she said, "the engagement is real." Cameras exploded. Reporters shouted. My soul attempted to exit through my left ear. Evelyn stepped back. I leaned toward her. "You could have warned me." She kept smiling for the cameras. "Where's the fun in that?" "You're evil." "You like it." "I did." Unfortunately. Charles Vale stood in the front row, wiping his eyes dramatically with a silk handkerchief. Clara looked exhausted but pleased. Uncle Tony, somehow invited, yelled, "That's my boy." The press conference became legendary. 6 months later, Orlia Table became the most talked-about hospitality food program in the country. Local restaurants partnered with hotels. Staff meals improved. Fraudulent vendors got sued into dust. My channel became half food review, half behind-the-scenes chaos, with Evelyn occasionally appearing as the anonymous taster, despite everyone recognizing her immediately. She still insisted she wasn't a fan. She also never missed an upload. Our relationship became public, messy, and deeply entertaining to the internet. People loved seeing the glass queen glare at me while eating dumplings. They loved when I tricked her into reviewing gas station fried chicken. They loved when she gave a 5-star hotel dessert a score of acceptable plus, and pastry chefs across the city treated it like a Michelin star. 1 year after the fake engagement, we got married at the Grand Orlia. Same ballroom. Same chandeliers. Different groom energy. This time, I wore a suit that actually fit. Evelyn wore a white gown that made every person in the room collectively forget how breathing worked. She walked down the aisle with her usual cold grace, but when she reached me, she whispered, "Your tie is crooked." I whispered back, "You're about to marry me and that's your concern." "Yes." "You're nervous." "I am not." "You're holding my hand too tight." She loosened her grip by 1%. "Don't misunderstand," she whispered. "I simply don't want you running away before dessert." I smiled. "I'm only here for the cake." Her eyes softened. "Liar." The ceremony went beautifully. No missing fiancé. No swapped signs. No allergic sabotage. Only one minor incident, when Uncle Tony cried into the guest book and smeared marinara on the page. At the reception, Charles gave a speech. When my granddaughter first told me she had chosen Noah Reed, I thought she had lost her mind. Everyone laughed. She had, of course, but in fairness, so had he. More laughter. Noah entered our lives carrying pizza. Since then, he has exposed corruption, saved a launch, insulted half our executive team, and somehow made my granddaughter smile in public, which I previously believed required divine intervention. Evelyn looked mortified. I applauded. Then Marcus, my best man, played a video montage. The first clip was from the original engagement ceremony. Me on stage, looking like a confused waiter in a tuxedo. Evelyn beside me, composed and terrifying. Adrian bursting through the doors like a rejected soap opera villain. The room roared. Then came clips from food reviews, business meetings, Evelyn secretly stealing fries from my plate, the allergen sabotage takedown, and one security video of her sneaking into the hotel kitchen at midnight to eat leftover Uncle Tony's pizza. Evelyn's face went scarlet. She turned to Clara. Clara sipped champagne. I have no idea how that got in there. Liar. When the video ended, the host handed me the microphone. So, Mr. Reed, he said, be honest. When you delivered those pizzas that day, did you ever imagine you'd end up marrying Evelyn Vale? I took the mic. The room quieted. I looked at Evelyn. She raised an eyebrow, warning me not to embarrass her. Naturally, I ignored it. Actually, I said, everyone has the story wrong. Evelyn's eyes narrowed. I continued. I wasn't randomly chosen. I wasn't just a pizza guy in the wrong hallway. The truth is, Evelyn had been in love with my food reviews for months. The crowd laughed. Evelyn mouthed, "Don't." I absolutely did. She watched every video. She ordered from Uncle Tony's under fake names. She memorized my catchphrase. She studied my ring size with what she called photography-based risk assessment, which is rich person language for stalking. The laughter grew. Evelyn covered her face. And on the day of her engagement, she didn't order 12 pizzas because she was hungry. I paused. She ordered 12 pizzas because she wanted me there. The room erupted. Evelyn stood. I backed up slightly. She can deny it all she wants, I said, but the glass queen saw a man with sauce on his shirt and thought, that one. I must lock him down before another woman discovers his mozzarella standards. Evelyn reached me and took the microphone from my hand. The room went silent. She looked at me. Her face was red, but her eyes were shining. Then she turned to the guests. Noah is exaggerating. I smiled. She continued, I did not choose him because of mozzarella standards. Thank you, I said. She looked back at me. I chose him because he was the only person honest enough to call my bisque terrible. The guests laughed. And because, she added, voice softer, when he eats something delicious, he looks like the world still has good things in it. My smile faded. Her gaze held mine, and I wanted to be part of that world. For once, I had nothing smart to say. Then she leaned closer and whispered, just for me. Also, the mozzarella standards helped. I laughed. She smiled. Not almost. Not secretly. Fully. And in that moment, under the same chandelier where I had once stood as a fake fiancé with pizza sauce on my wrist, I realized something. Some people fall in love through candlelit dinners. Some through handwritten letters. Some through destiny, tragedy, or years of friendship. Evelyn Vale fell in love through illegal soup criticism, emergency pizza, and one delivery guy too stupid to be afraid of billionaires. And me. I fell in love with a cold heiress who claimed she hated greasy food, but could destroy half a pepperoni pizza when she thought no one was watching. A woman who said acceptable when she meant amazing. A woman who called me impossible while holding my hand like she never planned to let go. At the end of the night, after the guests had gone and the ballroom was quiet, Evelyn and I sat on the edge of the stage eating leftover wedding pizza from a white cardboard box. Her heels were off, my jacket was gone, her diamond tiara sat crooked on her head. Very unglass queen. Very Evelyn. She took a bite and sighed. This is better than the wedding menu. I know. We paid $200 per plate. Tragic. She looked at me. Don't review it. I already wrote the title. Noah. My own wedding food was mid, but my wife was 5 stars. She stared at me, then smiled. You idiot. I leaned over and kissed her cheek. She pretended to be annoyed, but she gave me the last slice. And if you knew Evelyn Vale, you'd understand. That was basically eternal devotion.